We're going to start the panel. We have a wonderful group of leaders in IT here to talk to you, and hopefully you have lots and lots of questions for them, right? Does everyone have a good time? Did you like your workshops? Yeah? Which one? We had the LED dress group. Who did that? Yeah? What did you think? It was great? Yeah? You're going to show it to us tomorrow? Yeah? What about the other group? The robotics, is it? Or what? Coding, yeah, the app group, right? How did you like that? You liked it? Wonderful. Yeah. And the teachers were in robotics and innovation, yeah. What did you guys think about that, innovation? Yeah? Wonderful. Well, I'm glad to hear all the positive feedback. So, if you all settle down, we'll just start. I wanted to introduce our 4 panelists, and I'll start with a question first, and then hopefully all of you will ask questions. And we have 2 mics. Make sure you speak into the mic. The reason we are saying that, just to remind you, is we are broadcasting this on Google Hangout, and it's for the kids who didn't get selected. So they get to, if they wanted to watch, they can actually watch the panel discussions on Google Hangout. So we want to make it available for everyone who wants to watch the discussion. So I'll introduce here our panelists, Michelle, Melissa. I'm going to just tell their first names, and I think that's how I know them, so that's the best. Cheryl and Sue, and they'll tell you a lot about themselves, but I'll start with a question to them. Would you please just say a few words about yourself, and maybe I add a little bit about, what you do right now in your jobs. Okay.
Certainly. Michelle Wingard, co-founder of Dynamo, and we are a startup right over here in Exarban Village, and we set out to redefine the IT solution.
I'm Melissa Moreno, and I'm Executive Director of Infrastructure and Cybersecurity at Gallup, and we're a management consulting firm in downtown Omaha with a lot of IT staff and a lot of consultants, sales associates, accounting, HR.
I'm Cheryl Jones, and I am with Emeritus in Lincoln. I've worked at a lot of companies in Omaha and Lincoln, and right now I'm a Vice President of IT. I provide a lot of day-to-day maintenance support within my team. We also deliver new systems and new products for our company to use, with a focus on providing great service to our customers and helping our company grow.
I'm Sue Thaden, and I am the CEO of a company called CRI. We have about 180 employees in about 14 states that we do technical solutions and technical staffing. We also started a new company about a year ago that's called From Now On, and if you go to the game tonight, I'm going to do a selfish plug. Download Mav Experience. It's a great mobile solution to help navigate your game day. And sit on the Dean Ali's advisory board as well. Happy to be here.
Thank you. So with that introduction, maybe I'll first see if anyone has any questions right away. Otherwise, I'll ask one. Anyone? Questions? Here you
go. What did all you guys major in for college?
So I took a little bit more of an unconventional approach, meaning that it took me a little bit longer to kind of figure out before I had discovered IT. So my degree is actually in dental hygiene, which has nothing to do at all with what I do today, but certainly gives a great level of appreciation for the world that I support today tremendously.
I went to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln for undergrad studies, and I majored in management information systems.
I went to undergraduate school at Texas A&M, have a degree in pure mathematics, and then I went to graduate school at Oklahoma State and have a degree in applied mathematics. But I did take a couple of computer courses. This is how, back in the dark ages, I took Fortran and Assembler when I was in college.
I went to the University of Nebraska as well, and I have a degree in speech communications. And most recently, most of my education, technology, user experience. I wish I had taken it in college.
All right, anyone else? Questions?
What made you want to go into IT?
Well, I have a pretty honest answer. I liked money and IT paid really well. So when I started college, I'm from a very small town in northeast Nebraska, Newman Grove. Some of you may know that. But there were 18 people in my high school class. And so I wasn't exposed to IT growing up. And I also grew up a lot longer before you did. So we had, I think, internet on 2 computers at school, and it was on a dial-up connection. So when I went to university, I was positive I wanted to be an engineer, and I did that for 1 semester, and that was not what I wanted to be. So I tried a couple different majors and ended up with management information systems and economics also. I had a second major. So I loved economics. I wanted to study that just because I loved the subject, but I also wanted a career that I thought would pay pretty well when I was done too. So at the time, management information systems was a newer area, and I majored in that and took a lot of different jobs throughout my career, but it has worked out pretty well for me.
My story is a little similar. I actually come from IT, I guess. My father had his PhD in mechanics of engineering. He worked at IBM. He worked on the space program, so the Apollo missions and the shuttle missions. So my father was a programmer. I thought I would go into engineering like my dad did. My mother was an English teacher. That did not look so great to me. So I took a different path, but in a similar story in that I started out taking engineering courses, and what I liked about them was the math. So I ended up going that way with my degrees. I fell into actuarial sciences right out of school. And so I worked in the actuarial department at a company in Oklahoma City and then in Lincoln. And I thought product development was pretty cool, but I thought valuation was really boring. So I made this big, huge jump to IT at that point. And I went to work at a company in Lincoln that had a small development staff. And I really learned my programming on the job, and I came up through the ranks. I wrote code, I did testing, eventually became an analyst, and then worked my way into project management for a while. I was always fast to raise my hand to take on the weird and new projects. I'll do that, that sounds like fun. And eventually worked my way into management, which I really enjoy. And so now part of my job, besides making sure that my internal customers have what they need to meet their business goals, is to help the people who are on my team. I have a small team now, only about 30 people, but I really look to see to their professional development, make sure that they have opportunity to learn and grow as technology professionals, whatever area they want to move into next.
I've known Cheryl a long time, and I just learned a little more about you, so that was nice. So I got into IT, I graduated in not technical degree, and I got into selling software. And I loved it. I sold medical software in Ohio for a few years, and I came back here where I'm from, and I got into the consulting, selling staffing services, basically working with companies to understand their challenges, their needs, and helping them build teams so they could get products built, get projects done. And I just love in IT, you can be across any industry, any department. You can design it, you can build the database for it, you can code it, you can test it, and it just feels like there's no boundaries of what your career can be, and just so much excitement around the different things. So I've just stayed in the field, and as our company's grown, we got into mobile development, and that's just been really interesting. Again, it's kind of a green and growing opportunity when you're in IT, because you cross so many different industries, technologies, problems to solve. I've just found it really fulfilling and fun.
I have a lot of engineers in my family, and so had a great appreciation at a very early age and got exposed at a very early age. And what I learned going through school was that that world just wasn't going to be for me. But where I did play was really kind of and what we do is really that glue, if you will, between the strategy of a company and their ability to execute. And so I think it's the love for technology, kind of as Sue had said, so that it spans across and it really is limitless. And so it opens up a lot of possibilities. And so it's making those possibilities a reality. And again, this great appreciation for always surrounding yourself with really smart people and understanding what your role is in making that a reality.
Anyone else? Questions?
What advice would you give to kids in middle school and high school who want to go into IT?
Don't be afraid to fail. I think that's really, really important. And so that perfect doesn't exist. And so I think that you learn a lot about, I mean, again, you're so young and, like the goal is obviously get as much exposure and get out there and be social and don't be afraid to make mistakes. And it's much better to, we say in our office, it's much better to make mistakes than fake perfection because otherwise you miss the opportunity to learn.
My advice would be that it's cool to be smart. You should be proud that you're smart. So take your math, take your science, and do the things that you need to when you're in high school so that when you go to college, you're ready to take the classes that are going to get you that degree.
Ditto. Learn as much as you can. Be curious. Ask why, and figure things out. And you will have a wealth of great tools in your head that you can apply whether you go into technology or anything else.
I get to go last, that's a hard one, but I would say, I'll do a plug for UNO. You're welcome, Deepak, but they have great summer programs that my daughters have gone to them. That's a great way to introduce you to what the different fields are, to get your fingers wet on what some of the opportunities are. I know these girls were glowing, showing me their dress they saw today, and it was just popping out of them to have the exposure. So I would say looking at camps that can kind of have you dig into it a little bit and get the awareness of what it is. Every school doesn't have all the resources, so I know it's hard to say just take the class. It's also nice to try to find a mentor, someone that's taken the path, whether you meet them over the next few days. Some of the students and the teachers that you guys will be with today or tomorrow, it's just a great opportunity to find a mentor. What are they doing and how did they get there? And along the way, ask a lot of questions. But the camps and the classes are a great thing to look into. But talking to people in the field, if you can, I know that's a big thing to say, is really valuable too, because they can help guide you along the way.
I'm wondering about the role of modern language in IT, being able to speak other languages. How is that helpful or perhaps not in the kinds of work that you do or people who work for you?
I have a lot of people on my team that are not originally from the United States, but they, some of them are from India where English is a native language. Some of them are from China where it is not. Some are from Mexico where it is not. I think it's great to know more languages, but I guess at least at my company, the common language we speak is English, and it definitely can't hurt to know more languages, but the languages we care most about are Java and .NET.
We also have quite a few employees who maybe English is their second language. So they just bring some diversity to our thoughts and ideas. We do expect our technical people to have good understanding of the business and the business needs and our customers and their needs. So bringing some diversity and having those different points of view is important. We are also, we have just recently hired our new Chief Marketing Officer, and one of the things that we hope to do to provide better customer experience is to have more on our electronic interactions with our customers in different languages. So we're probably about to embark on some Spanish and some other things like that. So it's helpful if you do know another language, not required, but it certainly wouldn't hurt.
I'll just give one light comment. You know, I think if someone's interested in working internationally or working for a company that's international, you do need those bilingual people to be able to translate the screens and maybe make sure it matches the norms of that language. So if someone's really looking for a career like that, I think it's a plus. On a day-to-day, I don't know a direct correlation of value, but still get your foreign language, I'm sure.
Anyone else?
What's your favorite thing about IT?
What's your favorite thing about IT?
Honestly, I think it's about how fast everything changes and that it's always changing. So the opportunity to continually be learning and getting better every day for us is what, if I were going to kind of boil it down, if you will, and help solve those problems and know that the technology behind it that helps solve those problems.
I love that you can touch and feel technology. It plays a part in every single thing that you do all day long. And in my job, I get to take technology and help our associates be better at their jobs and to better service our clients. So just thinking about different ways we can do the things that we've always done to be better and faster and smarter about what we're doing.
I like both of those things. It's the rate of change and the opportunity to learn, and it's an opportunity to be creative and bring solutions to problems that only technology can bring. So I love that it does make our lives better.
I'll try to add to that. I love what they said. I also love that it's really neat. You can create amazing things and you can see them work. And like, for example, like Amazon Prime, the whole one-click, that is 90% IT sitting at the front seat of that solution. You know, people got tired of entering their credit cards, so they'd exit the site. So they had to figure out how to build you an account. People didn't want to wait for their book for a week, so they figured out 2-day delivery. People didn't want to look at the book and go buy it at the store because they can't wait in line. You know, they want to get on the plane right away. So people in their development and IT shop for Amazon are sitting back there pretty proud saying, look at the world using what we did, the technology we built. So your fingerprints are on things that people will use on a daily basis. And there's just something really cool about seeing it get done and seeing people use it and having an impact. It can be in many different industries.
Who influenced you to pursue your career in IT?
They're looking at me. So I would say a little bit my dad from a sales perspective. He just the selling technology was a huge opportunity. And then along the way, many different people. I find I'm influenced by people that don't realize it. Today, you impacted me when you showed me your picture of that dress. That will stick with me. So I find a lot of people along the way, when you see the excitement in their eyes, or you see a customer we work with say, thanks, that was awesome. That motivates me to get out of bed the next day, for our team to be fired up and to deliver great products. And so to me, along the way, it's a lot of different people.
I think I mentioned my father was a big influence that way, and it's pretty cool to have been part of an Apollo mission or getting somebody to walk on the moon. So there was a big influence there. But the ongoing influence really has been that ability to make a difference, to find solutions and make things better for people. And one of the things that IT brings to the table, besides code or servers or the technology, are the processes that come around that. Most companies house their project management within the IT area, not always, and sometimes it moves around, but we were really good at project management because our projects are large and they're complicated and they're high budget. So we developed that process to a very fine art. And there are many other processes and other things that come out of technology department. So it's just boundless what you can do and the difference that you can make.
My dad also encouraged me to look at MIS when I was deciding on a major, so that was helpful to have that support and encouragement at home. And then throughout my career, I've been very blessed to have managers that were advocates of mine and that saw talent in me and encouraged me to take opportunities that maybe were outside of my comfort zone, but that have helped me to grow in my career. I started my career as a software developer also, and now I work in hardware. And so that was nothing I was ever expecting to do, and I didn't think I'd even like it. But I love my job now. So it was one of those things that if I had just stuck to what was most comfortable, I don't think I'd be as happy or as fulfilled as I am today in my job.
Similar that I had a lot of engineers, again, in my family. When so I'm from Florida, but when I had moved to Omaha and had worked for a doctor here and was on my way to dental school, is when he really had pulled me aside and said, why do you want to be a dentist? And I didn't really have an answer for him as to why. And he was very key in my world to say, you know what, I think your strengths, I think it was kind of somewhat similar in that I wanted to make good money. I wanted to be able to obviously take care of myself. Came from extremely humble beginnings. And he said, Michelle, there's so many other ways to make money. And let me introduce you to somebody. And so he introduced me to a person who had her own IT consulting firm. And that's where, again, I fell in love. From that from that moment of being in the business world, but such a great appreciation for engineering, was really a place where I could see myself able to contribute and help make a difference.
Thank you. Anyone else?
What programming language would you say is like the most important or the one you use the most?
That's a great question. I don't think there's one answer. At my company, we are a heavy .NET and Java shop, so those are very important to us. We also use PL SQL, PHH. We use so many different things, and things that haven't even been invented yet is what we'll be using in 5 years from now. I think if you get a good basic understanding of any language, you'll be able to transition to another language too. You just have to learn the new context to write in.
And I would agree, there are so many languages, and we have Java and .NET as well. We also have a lot of package systems, so being able to configure and do the administration, to be able to write APIs so that you can integrate between the different pieces. So there's always something new, always something better that comes along. I think getting that understanding of the whole tech stack and data flow and work process flow are critical. As we were hearing, you might start off in software development and then you might switch over to hardware. So getting a little taste of everything is probably important, because you don't know. You might like security, you might like hardware, and you don't know until you get a look at it. But I would say learn several languages. Back to the question about speaking languages, right? They say once you learn Spanish, then maybe learning French isn't so hard. Well, once you learn one computer language, learning the next one is a little easier, and the next one is a little easier. So start getting them under your belt so that you can learn 5 more, and it'll be a piece of cake for you.
I'll try not to repeat. Those were good. I think I would totally agree that once you learn a language, the next language comes easier. So the one you're interested in now would be a quick, short answer. I would say also careful not to brand yourself as one, because they go away quick and all of a sudden you've kind of short-sighted yourself. So you don't want to say I'm only Microsoft too fast. If something really cool comes along that's iOS technology. I would also say, I was kind of thinking of the real successful developers in our company, and most of them, the common thread is they got a degree and they have the foundational elements of software development, software engineering. They didn't quick path it. I mean, I think there's a fun problem right now where people can learn to code really quick, and it's awesome. It whets your appetite, shows you some results. You got to be careful though, because a sustaining career probably does need a little more foundational understanding of development to be in developer in technology for a career.
Any other questions? All right, I'll ask one in the meanwhile. What would be something that you considered your major challenge to reach where you are? So 1 or 2 of your challenges, and how did you address them, I guess?
Do you want a current one?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we just started a company in last February. So I think this doesn't relate to the topic specifically, so I'll apologize up front. But I think the biggest challenge is whenever I find I'm in that cloud area of trying to figure something out and make a decision on maybe a new division of our company or a new product or whatever, the people I surround myself with on an everyday basis are critical to where I go from there. If they're the people that won't cheer you on, that won't push you forward, that think you're crazy and dreaming a little bit too much, you're not going to pop through that cloud to that next opportunity. So I guess one of the things to me is the people you spend time with. There's been a saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So do you want to be, I try to spend time with people that I think are smarter than me, more driven than me, are where I wish I was, have a heart bigger than mine that can, stretch me a little bit.
I think for me, I am very much about continuous improvement. So I'm always setting goals. I think corporate challenges in this area are that people want to learn one thing or become experts in one area, and then they don't want to see any change. And so they get very happy with the status quo. And I think particularly in large companies and large IT shops, you become the expert at system ABC. And then a new language comes along or a new package comes along and we need to implement that, and having that open-mindedness to, there is something better and I learned this so I can learn something else. But I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we face corporately, is for people to get happy with the status quo. And the thing is, your competition is not happy with the status quo. So you need to always be moving forward, and that's a challenge that we always have.
One thing I thought would be a big challenge, but actually wasn't, was when I moved into my current role. So I lead a division of 75 system administrators and security analysts, help desk associates, and DBAs, and they're almost all men. So there's 75 people, 2 of them are women, and then there's me. So I went from working in a pretty, I was always working in a diverse population, but it was a little less skewed, I guess, than that, to one that was different. You know, when I walk into a room, it sounds different because I'm wearing heels, and everything about me was different. But once I started the job, I wasn't different. We were the same. We were technologists. We were all working in the same direction and everything. I approach things a little differently than they do, and I think that's been good to bring a different point of view, a different way of looking at a problem that my team members have also appreciated about me. So I guess my advice to you there would be just don't think that you're different because you might look a little different than the other people in the room, because your point of view is going to be very valuable to whatever difficult challenges you need to solve.
I think for us as a co-founder and as a company that's set out to redefine a $27 billion major U.S. industry that is really highly fractured, but it's also ripe for innovation and change. It's exciting, but there's a lot of challenges every day. So I think one of the biggest challenges for us is when you have such a big goal and you are really ambitious, is really focusing on, for us, are what are these outcomes that we need to accomplish this week that are going to make us a better company and one step closer to achieving that goal. So it's really having that commitment and that focus every day that we have to remind ourselves, because there's so many different ways we can go. There's so many different options. There's so much information that's out there. So really making sure and constantly validating that we are driving to the results that, of what our goal is.
Thank you. Any other questions? Last chance. All right. So one last question, I guess. If you were to give them a single piece of advice for the future, I know you mentioned getting a good foundation and all that, but just based on your life experience, if you were to give them a single piece of advice, what would that be?
Okay, I can't do just one, but I'll put two together. And I mentioned this, but learn, always learn. Don't think you've arrived. After you get your college degree, you still need to learn. And the other half of that is listening. Make sure that you listen, and listen to understand, not to create your argument or set up your agenda, but listen to understand and listen to learn. And if you can do those two things, you should be able to do anything on this planet that you have a mind to.
I'll do 2 also. So the first one, and I love where she was going, be curious. I think when people wake up curious, it gives you a positive attitude. You have a little gratitude in your heart, and you are curious what's going on. And it makes you less nervous to ask questions if you think about being curious and seeking understanding versus looking dumb. So just curious. I would also say, I think, support each other. So often we're kind of in a race and we think we're supposed to compete. And in all reality, all of you today have an awesome opportunity in being here today on the campus and for the next couple of days to connect. I loved how there were girls over here that met each other here. And I was like, man, you all feel like you went to school together. It was just this great energy. So I would say 2 things: be curious and support one another and build great relationships.
I think this is great advice. So I would just say to be very curious, to learn, to work hard at school. That's really important. And to also consider having an internship or a job so that you can have some of that experience when you do enter the workforce outside of the classroom. Because although you learn very important things in the classroom, there's things you learn on a job that you just can't learn in a classroom either. And I think that puts you in a really good position to be very employable when you do graduate.
Again, all these are great, and they're all part of the building blocks that I think and I'll end with on top of all of these, but that commitment to yourself to be better every day. So waking up every day, again, knowing that whatever happened yesterday is an opportunity to learn and be really focused on what you need to do today in order to get you to tomorrow.
Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause.